A couple of things. First of all, really, really happy for our seniors. Certainly, the ability to send them out with a victory in their last home game makes it extra special when they can win all of their home games in their senior year. That certainly was a goal this year. As we laid out our goals, it was to beat Michigan, to win all of our home games, and to win in November. We've clicked off two of those goals. We're halfway there on the third. I think I talked about how important it was to run the football in November when teams know that you're going to run the football and exert your will, and I thought we were able to do that today. And that had a lot to do with the final score. We rushed for 365 yards. So a lot of good things, a lot of positive things, and also things that we can take from the game that we can build on going into next week's game against Syracuse. So with that, I'll open up the questions.
Coach, obviously Brandon starting for the first time in 6 weeks. You could see the emotion wearing out there on senior night. What did the victory and what did the game he had, what does that mean to him?
What does it mean to him? He's a competitor. I mean, first and foremost, he wants to win for his teammates. He wants to win for Notre Dame. He's a great teammate. He's been that way all year, whether he's in a starting role or a backup role. So, that's why I took a timeout to take him out of the game because he deserves that kind of recognition for him to step in and he led our football team when we needed him. So he should feel great about what. Look, it's not an individual game. There's 22 players out there, but he had a big hand in it tonight.
You came out throwing a lot early, it seemed. Was the game plan there just to get him comfortable with some throws?
Yeah, we're trying to, attack a defense, but we're also trying to be smart in utilizing the strengths of a quarterback that we feel, can, accurately do the things that we want him to do. And that the game plan was solid. We wanted to get off to a great start. We did. Our defense helped us get off to a great start. With the early interception, we were able to get 7 on the board. We get a great throw, and we were able to get off to a great start.
Brian, here in front. Yeah. Was the most significant thing about tonight just the ability to run the ball against a good run defense in a way that maybe you hadn't done this year, certainly not with the current configuration of the offensive line?
I think there were two things. One, the ability to go and have Brandon Wimbush come in and start well, get off to a good start, and gain momentum. I don't think if you get off to a good start and you don't get that momentum, it kind of gets lost kind of in what happens in the game. I think that then kind of would be the second thing is the ability to run the football when they knew we were going to run the football against a group that's been stingy against everybody all year.
Do you get a sense like why that clicked tonight at a little bit higher level?
There's a number of factors. I think there was an emphasis that was placed on some things that put us in a better position. Look, I think when you talk about running the football, it's time and place. Our running game is tied into so many different RPOs that if you drop down, 2 extra defenders, we're throwing it out, and then it's not a run anymore. It's a pass, and so it gets lost in it. Tonight, there were fair numbers, and in those fair numbers, we're able to run the football. So I don't want to get into a long conversation here, but when it was fair, we were able to run the football, and that's what we're going to have to do when we get teams that want to play 2 high safeties against us.
What's sort of the plan for Ian this week? What are the points in the week where you need to know can you go, can you not, and just sort of what's your expectation?
Well, who says Ian's the starter? I thought Wimbush was great today. Didn't you guys think he was great? I think we start a controversy right now and get this thing rolling so you guys got plenty of stuff to write about for the week, because you guys will be bored just talking about one guy. Yeah, I don't know about that. So we'll see. I mean, I like Wimbush right now. We'll see.
Coach, you're coming off a 2-game road trip. You come home today for a quick stay, and then your next 2 weeks are on the road. How do you keep the guys fresh and focused on the end game here?
Look, they've known this schedule. You know, we've been preparing for November since October. You know, and I don't mean that in a smart way. It's just that they know that this has been coming, and you know, our practices have reflected that. I think our kids are in a good place physically. Knock on wood, I think we got out of today with any major issues. We feel good about where we are physically and mentally. We can handle a road trip to New York. I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. So we knew where we were going to be at this time. I think we've taken the right steps along the way. Our guys are mentally prepared for it, but we had to plan for it. This wasn't, you know, something that we just said, all right, let's get ready for a road trip this week. We've planned the month of November out, so we're ready for it.
Brian, I was going to ask, Julian, sounds like Julian Love's probably all right.
Cleared to have gone back in the game. It was a coach's decision not to put him back in.
All right, and then kind of a quick side note. Coney came out as a game day captain today. When did you decide that, and what's it kind of mean that he's come to the point where you're bringing him out on senior day in that role?
Yeah, that decision had been made with my captains about 6 weeks ago. We had decided who those game day captains were for each game.
Did they know 6 weeks ago, or they learned week by week?
They learned week by week. Yeah, I let them know on Monday of the week.
And would Tavon respond on Monday?
Oh no, I don't tell them. I don't tell them until a little bit later in the week. So I'm sorry. I talked to our captains on Monday.
Okay.
We make that decision, and then I'd let them know.
How did Tavon respond Thursday, Friday? Or
He was
morning?
beaming. He was excited. This was really important to him. He actually almost ate a real meal, other than Hardee's and McDonald's, which is big for Tavon. He's not a very good eater, as you can tell. But he was excited. He was proud of the opportunity that he was given as a game day captain. He took it serious, and you could tell the way he practiced all week. And not that he hasn't practiced at that level, but it was very important to him.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, Coach. When in the third quarter, you guys had a goal line stand. So how critical was that during the game?
You know, we've been like that all year. You know, we kind of give up some yardage and bend a little bit. That's who we are a little bit. Our DNA has been kind of like that this year. You know, we've give up some soft yards here and there, but you know, in the red zone we tighten up, and we did again today. You know, I thought there were some misfits, and I'll talk to Clark about it. We probably misfit a couple of plays here and there. We were in probably nickel a little bit more than we have been, so those fits came a little bit harder for us. Florida State ran the ball a little bit more than they had because we were, so we'll have to go back and tighten them up. But to answer your question, I thought we bowed up when we needed to keep the points down.
And then what areas of improvement do you guys see that you need going forward into playing the Syracuse game?
You know, certainly from a defensive standpoint, there's some execution things that we want to do in our nickel. We were in a lot of nickel today. You know, I think and you're going to see that again next week, obviously, with Syracuse. So it gives us a good opportunity to really evaluate our sub-personnel groupings and look at our sub-personnel groupings and really kind of hone in on some of those things.
Brian, just to follow up with the offensive line, Tommy Kramer back in the starting lineup, was that a size physicality decision, or
Some big fellas over
Yeah.
there. Some big fellas.
did he? I don't know if he went the whole way. It was kind of hard for us to see.
went the whole way.
Okay,
He-
it's
he-
hard
yeah,
for
he
us to
played
see
the
the
whole game.
numbers from upstairs.
Yeah.
If I could just follow up on Ian Book, because I believe that you told the student newspaper that you thought he would be back next week.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say that he wouldn't be back. I said that he may not be the starter. Wimbush might beat him out.
Okay.
I mean, we still have competition. I mean, let's get this thing going.
Okay.
I mean, I want front page news. I mean, let's get this. We want controversy.
I
We
think
want a
you're-
quarterback, a full blown quarterback controversy.
I think you're
front
gonna have a hard
page
time
news.
selling that. So,
I thought it was going to be
So-
front page of the Illustrated. What do we call your Times Illustrated?
Illustrated.
Times Illustrated.
so physically, you expect him to be ready to go next week.
All the signs are pointing towards that. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
What is a quarterback controversy? Define what that means.
Well, Coach, what would it take? You saying that we don't know. What would it take for Book to get back into the starting lineup since we're starting this controversy?
When the doctor says he's cleared to go.
Talk to us about Dexter Williams and what he's been able to do all season. Every week he gets better and better. Tonight he had over 200 yards rushing, but he seemed fluid every time he touched the ball. Talk to us about his ability to just get better.
You know, he doesn't have a lot of miles on him, you know, and I think that helps as we go through later in the year. You know, he hadn't played a lot. And so, you know, backs that have a lot of carries that are banged up, you know, especially here in the month of November, you know, have a tendency to wear down a little bit. I mean, he's got fresh legs and you know, and he's still learning, you know, and so I think we're seeing the effects of a back that is coming into his own and getting an opportunity now, you know, later in his career, certainly. But you know, seeing things, learning things, and tapping into his potential, and it's we're Notre Dame is the beneficiaries, and he will be too. So it's a win-win situation.
Being able to run the football in November is huge, especially finishing the season off right now.
Especially against a front that's pretty stout, and certainly with their two safeties that are in, you know, flat foot hit positions. You know, they're playing with 9 guys there, and that's, you know, Harlan Barnett knows what he's doing. I mean, that's a group that, you know, they were at Michigan State last year. They take great pride in stopping the run. So, yeah, we had to figure out some things. We used some things that we felt would be advantage to us, you know, playing Michigan State over the last few years, and we went back to them, and they were effective for us.